This is Minecraft's hardest escape room. I start off in a room with an exit that appears to be about 5 blocks high, and all I have to work with is a sapling and exactly 5 blocks. Confused at what to do with such a random assortment of items, I tried asking Google, asking ChatGPT, and asking some of my friends, which got me nowhere.
But then I had a very good idea. I used F5.
You see, using F5 gave me a whole new perspective, which allowed me to see a carpet that I couldn't have seen before because it was camouflaged with the floors. And underneath it, I found a hopper containing 21 bones. And then it clicked. So I placed down my dirt block underneath the exit, placed down my sapling, and then got to work. First, I started by crafting the bones into bone meal. And once I'd gotten enough bone meal, which took some time, I tried bone mealing my sapling, hoping that it would grow into a tree. When it did, I got straight to mining the sapling for its wood. Once I'd done that, I tried to turn the logs into planks, even though I already had some, and then made a crafting table, which I then would use to create one of the most important items in any escape room. That item being a boat. See, there's an obscure glitch in Minecraft where if you place the boat just right, you can actually phase through bedrock with it. And so, I had to try my luck. And after failing a couple times, I eventually got the placement just right. But before I left, I had to pick up a few things. Put back a few things. So I decided to put back the bone meal, the sticks, the sapling, the red carpet, and I was about to put the oak planks, but I decided to take exactly 4 of them with me. Definitely because of a premonition and not because I already knew what was coming up ahead. And then, with everything ready, I decided to perform the glitch. Yes! It worked! The next room actually requires the boat that we got from the last one. Over on the other side, I can see cobwebs leading to some kind of thing. I will assume that there's an item falling through them that will fall on a TNT pressure plate, blowing up the entire room. And if I do not use this boat to go fast across the water, I will die. I am assuming this because it makes better content. Anyway, all I have to work with is 4 leather and an anvil. Now, my goal here is to try to turn the water into ice, because we all know that water is not as fast as ice when it comes to boating. That's why ice boat racing is a thing. And I need to get there as fast as possible before that blows up. And I am making this much more anticlimactic by talking like this. Anyway, now I need to find some way to create ice out of that water. So I use the convenient amount of planks I have to create a crafting table, and use the crafting table to craft a boat craft boots out of my leather. Once I have done that, I would probably go around and look for stuff that could help me. But this time I didn't even need to use F5 because the hopper definitely was not camouflaging as much as the last one. And in it I find Frostwalker. This made a lot more sense now. And so I placed down the anvil and tried to enchant my boots. But I did not have enough XP. How was I supposed to get XP in this room? And then it clicked. The glow squids. And so I decided to go kill them. But after killing both the glow squids, I still didn't have enough XP. What was I supposed to do now? There was nothing else in this room to give me XP, and if I didn't hurry, the room was going to blow up. I began to worry, but thankfully I didn't have to, because then a miracle happened. Yo, no way guys, what just happened? I suddenly have 3 XP? That's crazy, I was just standing there and now I have more than enough XP to enchant this. Alright, perfect. And so, I enchanted my boots, and it worked. Now all that was left to do was put them on, freeze the spawn, and then take a nice little boat trip across. And one nice little zip later, I had cleared room 2 of this escape room. And so, I finally made my exit. In room 3, I walked straight into a bedrock box. I am now trapped, and the only thing I can do is go through the nether. So that's exactly what I decided to do. And in the nether, I found out once again I was trapped inside of a bedrock box. But this time, there were some oak logs outside that I could not break because, once again, content. So I was kind of stuck right now. But then I had a very good idea. I used F5. So using F5 gave me a whole new perspective, which allowed me to see a hopper that I couldn't have seen before. And so I had to try to get lucky and make the jump. And inside I found an ender pearl. Yes, this was perfect. Now I could get out of the box and then break some of these oak logs. And once I had gotten all of the logs, I went back to the overworld and tried to see if there was a way to get out from there. Sure enough, I tried F5ing again, and I found another hopper that I couldn't have seen before. And so, I once again, I accidentally went through the portal. And so, I tried jumping again to get it, and I accidentally ended up placing one of my oak logs in the wrong place. But hey, accidents happen. And inside, I found an ender pearl. Yes! Now I can finally make my escape from this final room by pillaring up with some blocks to spare. Then I decided to turn into oak planks for convenient reasons. And that was how I cleared room 3. In room 4, I found a bunch of lava covering the floor, and I would need to bridge across. It seemed that about 16 planks should do the trick. And so I began bridging very carefully, making sure that I did not catch fire. Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Good thing I have a backup of the world. Anyway, I once again began bridging, hopefully trying to avoid what happened last time. My bridging was a bit faster this time, but once again, I met the same fate. Alright, one more time now. No mistakes. And eventually I made it. I could see the ending right up ahead of me, so I walked to it, but then I realized this was a barrier maze. That is not good. So I spent my time absent-mindedly trying to find my way out of the barrier maze, with absolutely no luck. But then I realized I have an oak plank. There's a lot I can do with an oak plank. And so I tossed it to see where the barriers were, and I realized that this line was my only lead so far. So I tossed it again, and it led me over here. Then I tossed it again, it led me over here. And then I tossed it again, and it led me nowhere. This was not good. This meant that the barrier maze had ended, and I was still stuck here. So what was I actually missing? I spent a lot of time trying to find out what to do here, but then I realized it's probably the sign. If I could read that sign, I might have a good idea of what to do. So I tried using F5, but that got me nowhere. And I tried using my oak plank to block up, but that also got me nowhere. I was stuck. But then I realized I was on top of the barrier. That was useless. And so, with absolutely nothing left to do, I decided to do the one thing that I could. And that's how I beat Minecraft's hardest escape room. Please consider liking and subscribing because it really helps the channel grow if you want to see more escape room content. And I'll see you guys in the next escape room video.